Are you looking for the magic to make your life truly count? Do you want the secret formula to make every day your best day yet? Hello, and welcome to the Finishing on Fire radio show. And now, here are your show hosts, Dave Wadsworth and Greg Vance.
Well, relationships, that's really what it's all about in life. Life is not a solo journey. It's about relationships. Of course, we've talked about the relationship we have with our parents, if they're still alive. Hopefully they are. And then, of course, our spouse, which is so critical. And then our children, we've talked about our children and those relationships and how those go forever. And then, of course, last episode, we talked about our siblings, brothers and sisters that we may have, and how everyone's different. And of course, my family is kind of an exception to the rule as far as having 4 siblings and their spouses still alive and communicating very well. And as I mentioned to you, we just got a text from my sister about her brother-in-law that is very, very, very ill. And and we text all the time. Those relationships are close, and texting makes it really easy, modern technology. So that's right. A good thing. But today we're talking about friends, a relationship with friends, and that is another one that is so critical. And a lot of times we have friend relationships that are actually closer than siblings in many instances and stuff. So, right. And I want to quote, I don't mean to cut you off, but I will.
I was going to tell you to quote something.
Our show Finishing on Fire is really based on the book that I wrote, the #1 bestseller on Amazon. It's called Finishing on Fire. Live your legacy of purpose, passion, and prosperity, and just talking about living your best life every day. Make the most of it every day. Build your relationships with people. Be kind, be respectful, be generous, be loving, and just live fully alive. And I talk about that in the book. And I want to quote, when we're talking about relationships in chapter 12 of the book, it's page 141, but it talks about targeting people. And we have a target right there on that page. And I talk about, in the bullseye of the target is the people that are very close to you, the closest, which is your spouse, your children, and then also your parents. And that's your bullseye. Those are people that you really want to focus on the most. And then we talked about last episode, that first ring out, then that would be your siblings, the ones that are your brothers and sisters, and they should be close with you also. And if they're not, work on that relationship and do everything you can that's in your power to maybe mend fences or build that relationship back up to where it should be, or in my case, just appreciate and enjoy a fabulous relationship that you've got with family and or siblings. So anyway, this week we're talking about that next ring out. Okay, so you got bullseye, you got your first ring, and then you got your second ring, and that is your friendships. And we want to talk about our friendships. And most people, hopefully they have a friend, but hopefully they have many friends. And if you've been kind to people and you've been respectful, just like I talk about in the book, you're going to have a lot of friends, and you're going to have some close friends and develop some really good relationships. And it takes being a friend, to have those friends, because if you're not a friendly person and you're not a giving and open person, it's going to be hard to get friends and to gather those people close to you. So that's what we're talking about, is targeting those. And I know, Greg, we've got some special friends that I want you to talk about and explain a little bit about our relationship with those mutual friends that we've got. So go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. So Dave and I are blessed to have 2 more guys in our life That's Leslie Peters and Armando Garcia. And we were fortunate enough to meet one another at a conference that we attended. Well, Dave and I already knew each other ahead of time, and he was generous enough to invite me and the one that he was going to. And it was, as we look back on it, I would say, sometimes, people of faith like us, we sometimes will say, well, that's a God thing, that God just ordained and arranged it. And I think, in our case, I think that's true. We were at an event in Nashville, Tennessee, a Ray Edwards event. And we, serendipitously, however you say that word, serendipity ensued, God ensued. And we had, we connected up with Leslie and Armando, and obviously you and myself for lunch one day. We didn't know Armando, we didn't know Leslie other than a few minutes of conversation. And it was just amazing how quickly we connected with one another. And I know as we're going to talk about more in some detail here, if you look at us, you probably wouldn't say, well, when I put you guys all together in the same place, you're so different from one another. You have different skills, you have different abilities, you have different ages, you have different backgrounds, different ethnic backgrounds, racial backgrounds, you name it, it's different. Corners of the country. But we got together and had the best time. We probably spent an hour having lunch. And out of that lunch, and I think it was Leslie's idea, we decided we were going to continue to work together, get to know each other more, hold each other accountable by entering into a mastermind group. And I think we'd say the four of us have never been the same since.
That's a good way to put it. The old saying, you never cross the same river twice, because life is always changing.
Right.
And we went into that event, and of course we had known each other. And I remember Armando actually had been I spoke with him briefly at a Dan Miller Coaching with Excellence, a couple of days. And I remember him, and he's a little older than us, not much, but Leslie especially, he's much older than Leslie, because Leslie's the young guy of the group.
They'll appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know which one, Leslie or Armando, but anyway, what we did, it was kind of funny. We had the same interest, the Copywriting Academy. We were wanting to learn and grow and conduct business much better than we were at the time. And we were all somewhat successful in our own right, but we wanted to do better. And we had that in common, or we wouldn't have been there. And we just came together. I think we were sitting close to each other, and then during a break or something, we just kind of chit chat a little bit, when you had a few minutes, just smile and hello, and just kind of the way you should be, just friendly and talking with people. And then we had a break for lunch, and I don't know if Leslie or Armando, we were just kind of hanging out, and it's like, hey, you want to go get a bite? And so we walked all the way to the other end of that mall we were in. It's a factory, I think is what it's called. And they had restaurants upstairs. There was a restaurant there. And so we four sat down and ate lunch. And I remember we were just talking about, our different backgrounds, our businesses and things. And then, and we talked about how we could grow, what we wanted to do and stuff. And I distinctly remember Leslie, sometimes he's just bold. I love him. And Leslie just said, well, why don't we four, start a mastermind of our own? Just us four. Why don't we do that? What's stopping us? And and I thought, okay, I'm good with that. And of course, the idea, the concept of the mastermind, I don't know how far that goes back, but I do know it was very prevalent in the book by who's the book? Not Win Friends and Influence People. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Exactly.
Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. He really talked about this, the mastermind concept of getting together like-minded people on a regular basis and talking about goals that you have and things that you want to accomplish and things that you want to be better at. And so it was funny. Leslie just, says, hey, why don't we, make one, just us four, let's do it, and and that was the catalyst that started it. And so that's been almost 4 years, I think. It'd be 4 years this summer.
4 years this summer.
So and it's neat. And I'm excited about it because it was very natural. It was organic. We just come together, and every month we will have a Zoom call, and we will talk and go through things and share, what we're struggling with. We share with what we've accomplished. We share our goals for the next month and what we want to do. And it's really enriching. It's very inspiring. It's some accountability that sometimes I don't like. Thank you, Armando. I tell you what, hey, Greg, that guy, Armando, and when you read my book, Finishing on Fire, I've got him in there. He's one of my co-editors for my book, because he read through it and he found this and that and the other thing. And I'm like, wow, I missed all that stuff. But anyway, excellent friend and companion to help me with this book. And I put him in there in the front as one of my co-editors with my son, who's an English lit teacher, but Armando, for some reason, he has a knack. He can read me, pardon the pun, like a book. I mean, he knows my buttons and where to push, and it's just like he almost knows me better than I know myself. And I think I can hide, but I can't, not from him.
It's kind of like he has a laser to spot the chink in your armor.
Oh, he does.
It's right there.
Does, and I'm like, doggone you, shut up. You're killing me, It's funny, but we've developed a really, really good friendship. I think all four of
Absolutely.
us, well, and actually the last cruise by the 48 days community, Dan Miller, it was the Acres of Diamonds cruise, and Dan and Joanne Miller had a cruise. And Dan and Joanne, they're just wonderful people. They're mentors of ours, and they've helped so many people. But I was able to speak. I was one of the participants of the cruise that got to speak. And of course, Greg, you helped to film it, video and stuff, and during the cruise. But that was just a very enlightening experience. And then, of course, Armando and Carol were able to come, but Leslie and Marcia, his wife, they couldn't make it. So three of us couples were able to be on that cruise together, which was really, really fun. It was just very, very good time. But that's one thing here recently. What did you do just this week that to celebrate with Armando and Carol? Tell us about that a little bit.
Yeah, so we got together, the four of us, and this is Armando and Carol's 50th wedding anniversary occurred this week. And so we wanted to help them celebrate that. So we sent them some cards, some texts, and we're going to buy them dinner to celebrate. We live far apart from one another, but we want them to know that, we care about them. We want to celebrate this with them. It's a really big milestone for them to celebrate. And we're really, they've had some amazing impact on us and so many other people. They have an amazing family. And so we wanted to be able to do that. Just a great way to, be able to as Dave was, as you were talking about, we talk a lot about business things. We also talk a lot about personal things as well, because there's a lot going on in everybody's lives. And so we wanted to make sure that it's not just all about business. This is about doing life together. And so that's just an amazing way to celebrate it. And we're thankful we could do that.
Yeah. Because Armando and Carol live out in San Francisco area, or actually, what's that little town there? Well, Morgan Hill area, but it's San Jose, closer, I think, to San Jose. But anyway, around the Bay Area, and they've lived out there forever. Of course, Armando, it was his granddad who immigrated from Mexico years ago. And our Armando, of course, his dad and him were raised here in America, and just wonderful people. He started I don't know how many different businesses, and he's done very well for himself. Very productive person, and just helped a lot of people. Just a good-hearted man. Matter of fact, we just found out recently he's been really fairly active in the Zig Ziglar organization, and training and teaching people on leadership and all that, through them. So it's exciting to watch him. He's just now, let's see, he's 69. He'll be 70 in the fall. Actually, as these podcasts come out, it may be around his birthday, but he is just continually learning. He very much inspires me to see him, and just continuing every day to explore and learn and serve people. And he's just got a heart of gold. It's just awesome. And to celebrate 50 years with them, 50 years of marriage, that is phenomenal. And so, and then of course, Leslie, he's out of Dallas, Texas is where he's from, and originally from over in around Jackson, Mississippi. And don't let me forget, I want to talk about him a little bit. Of course, you, Greg, you're up around Indianapolis, and then of course I'm here in southern Indiana, down on the tip by the Ohio River, and so actually I'm kind of in the middle of everywhere between Nashville, Tennessee, Louisville, Kentucky, Indianapolis, St. Louis. I'm kind of in the middle there, out in the country, I guess. but story with Leslie, and we're working on a podcast coming down the road. It's called Black and White Men Talking. And we're going to do some TikTok stuff on that, but we're going to have a podcast, Black and White Men Talking, and that is about Leslie is a Black man. I'm white, and we're friends. We're genuine friends. We love each other. We just we enjoy each other's company. But the picture is we're sitting on a park bench. We're just enjoying life. We're talking. We're just enjoying each other. We're getting to know each other more and more. And behind us, you see society and some of this crazy stuff with people with signs that are, with anger and hatred and bitterness and chaos and all this stuff that society likes to, sometimes people stir up trouble. And yet Leslie and I are there, just being, friends, and just being men, and learning about each other and growing together, and just, talking, doing the basics, talking. And that's what friends do. They communicate, they talk, they share, they laugh, they cry, they love, they respect, they honor. And that's what we've got. And it's just been really fun, to see that us four guys just blossom through our mastermind and so forth. So yeah, that's been really cool.
It has been, yeah. And I'm excited for you and Leslie about that podcast, the concept of it. And I think your personalities, the way your life experiences, the way that you'll come together to do that, I'm excited for it. I think you're gonna be a really good role models for how people work through things, having different experiences, having different viewpoints, and understanding each other.
Yeah. He, and talking about his background, Leslie, man, he is smart. He is sharp on technology. He's smart on. He has a credit counseling business. He's part of him and his buddy attorney there in Jackson, Mississippi, and they have a business together, and they do a lot of helping a lot of people, and Leslie's really sharp on the credit and financial counseling and stuff, and I just love to see what he's doing. But we met down there in Jackson, and we spent some time there. His university was Jackson State University, which is a historically Black university. And it's actually, I think, maybe the largest one of all the many, historically Black colleges and universities. And we met there. And one thing that really stood out to me, I've been on a lot of college campuses, but this was one of the cleanest and nice, just so well groomed and manicured campuses I think I've ever been on. And matter of fact, Greg, last year, Glenn and I, when we went on our cruise with Dan and Joanne Miller, went on the Acres of Diamonds cruise, we stopped and we went through and stayed all night at Tuskegee University in Tuskegee, Alabama. And it's a historically Black college and university started by Booker T. Washington. And it was absolutely the cleanest and most beautiful campus I think I've ever been on. It
Wow.
was phenomenal. Glenda and I talked about that, and it's like, wow, a lot of places, they don't take so much pride in their facilities and stuff, but this place was amazing. I was just really excited about, being there and so forth. Of course, we stood out, Glenda and I I think they have several thousand students, and I think Glenn and I two other white people were on the campus that day, and it was all Black, and it was just an enjoyable day. But George Washington Carver had a museum there at Tuskegee, and we wanted to visit that, so we stayed in the Student Union hotel thing there, the Kellogg Center, and then the next day we toured the museum and stuff, and then headed on down. But that was neat. But yeah, with Leslie. Talking about him growing up there around Jackson, Mississippi, and going to school there at Jackson State. His dad was a football coach in southern Mississippi there, and actually it wasn't a big school, country school, and he was like one of the first, I think the first Black coach to win like a regional championship and then win a state championship there in Mississippi.
Wow.
And his dad, he had several really high quality athletes that came through his school. And actually one of them that he coached in high school was Walter Payton. And I was like,
my gosh.
Can you imagine having Walter Payton on your squad? But Sweetness, we called him 34 Sweetness. And that's where my brother, when we played football in high school, my brother had, number 34, and because he loved Walter Payton, and stuff. So, but yeah. So friends, oh my gosh, we've become good friends. We've encouraged each other on a regular basis, and we've had the desire to see each other succeed. And I know we'll get a quote down below, and we'll talk about that a little bit about that, how we want to help each other succeed as a friend and so forth. So what else we got here, Greg? Oh, we need to get into that other with the animals.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So what Dave's referring to is our regular segment. Well, semi-regular. It goes Wazzy's World. And it's where we highlight a personal encounter that Dave has had with some type of animal.
And now it's time for Wadsy's World. Yes, Dave Wadsworth's true life animal stories.
So today's number is 11. So Dave's going to go to his list and let us know what number 11 is.
Number 11 on my list is fish. So I have to come up with a story that involves fish.
A fish story.
Which actually, wow, I've got a lot of different ones. Some are really, really funny. I wonder, this could actually go in two categories. This one here could either be worms or a fish. I don't know. But when Adam, our boy, was young, I don't know how old he was, maybe 3, 2.5, 3 years old. He's a little bitty guy. Well, we were fishing up at the local lake here, the city park and lake. And we were just catching these little bluegill and stuff, just fishing. We'd throw them back, and stuff. Well, Adam we were with another couple from church, and they had a little girl, and she was a little bit older than Adam. And she was there, and we had these little styrofoam containers that had mealworms in them, little bitty white worm, mealworms, and they're called, and that's what we're using, to fish with and stuff. And we we were sitting there fishing, me and my buddy Doug, and our wives were there close, and we heard this little girl, Courtney. She said, "Ooh, Adam, spit it out, spit it out." And we turned around, and Adam had one of those mealworms in his mouth, and it was wiggling. It was hanging out and wiggling. Oh my gosh, it was hilarious. And we're sitting there, just spitting and stuff, because we wanted Adam to spit it out, and it was, and so we go over there and we're getting, it has sawdust in his mouth and has one of those worms, and oh my gosh, that was hilarious. So I actually should have saved that one for a worm story, but yeah, but that was an exciting day fishing with with Adam trying to eat the mealworm, you know.
Wow. Did he catch a fish?
yeah. So the fish jumped out of the water and snatched it out of his mouth. Yeah, we said, "Here, Adam, bend down and stick your face in the water and see if they come up." You know, it's funny what kids do, and you know, it's like, but that little girl, if she wouldn't have said anything, it's hard telling where that worm would have went. You know, he might have finished eating it. You know,
might have had a dozen of them.
Oh my gosh, it was, yeah, that's funny. People do actually, I think they fry them up and eat them though, because they got a lot of protein in them or something. But I'm like, nope, sorry. So that is my Wadzoo World animal story for the week.
All right, well, I like that. You're right. The category of fish could go so many different ways. Never thought it might go to worms, but that makes sense. They connect.
Yeah, we were fishing, so yeah.
So so for our next segment, we're going to talk about mainly movie moments.
And now it's time for manly movie moments.
And we this is an older movie, and we had to think hard about some movies about two best friends that really helped each other rise up and become better people. so if you're our listener today, you may I'm going to introduce this, and Dave's going to dive more into it. He's much more colorful at bringing out some of the maybe emotional ties between these two people. But so the movie today is a Lethal Weapon, and if you remember the two gentlemen that are stars in it, they're Murtaugh and Riggs. They are police officers, right?
Yeah, police officers. I'm trying to remember what city they were in. Was it Los Angeles, maybe? But they were.
It probably was.
Yeah, Danny Glover. They were detectives. Danny Glover, and then Mel
Gibson.
Mel Gibson. How could I forget that? But Danny Glover and Mel Gibson, they were put together, and at first, it was really a weird combination.
Yes.
Very, very strained, to say the least, and it was just because I think Mel Gibson had some issues, they thought, mentally, and he was partnered up with this guy with Danny Glover, and Danny Glover's like, oh my gosh, you know, what have I done to deserve a partner like this, you know? But I guess apparently Mel Gibson's wife had been killed in an accident. You know, they cut the brake lines or something, and they meant to kill Mel Gibson, but I think they killed his wife. So he had a real issue in his head going on all the time, and to have him with a gun, you know, loaded weapon, and chasing the bad guys and stuff, and yeah, it's really it developed into an amazing friendship. Mm-hmm. And you know, when you're with people and you're in the heat of battle, you know, you're fighting the bad guys, and you know, over time you really forge a bond, and that was exciting to watch those guys and how, you know, they really come together. They spent some time. I know one of the first times Mel Gibson comes over to Danny Glover's house for supper, and his wife makes some kind of meatloaf or something, and he was very polite about it, but they were talking afterwards, you know, outside working on his boat or something. He said something about, you really like, you know, my wife's cooking? No. He says, yeah, no, it's bad. It was funny, but it was quite a story, and I really enjoyed it. I don't remember a lot about the other ones, but that Lethal Weapon, that first one was in my mind, was a classic, you know, and just a great, you know, partnership that and the friendship that they forged together. So I would call that a real good manly movie moment, building that friendship.
Kind of looking at like you said there, when whether it's a business or life or work, when you go through things, you're going to find out who people are underneath. And so I think that's one of the things that makes our mastermind work, is the fact that we've gotten to know each other underneath, not just at a surface level. And so I think that's one of the things that's endearing about that movie. There was a backstory to each of them, and really they had something to each of them could learn from the other, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, because they just, they come from two different worlds, or they're slammed together,
Mhm.
and then all of a sudden they're in the heat of battle, and they've got to cover each other's back.
Yeah.
And that's really pretty neat to see that unfold, and how that works. And that's what you want in friendships. You want somebody that wants the best for you. And I know you got a quote on that. We need to.
Yeah, what I'll do, let me go ahead and roll with the Henry Ford quote, and then you can do the other one.
Okay.
And so there's a variety of people that Dave and I have read, and it seems like sometimes it's the simple wording that were used in people in the early 1900s. I don't know why that is. Where you've got Dale Carnegie,
Yep.
you've got Napoleon Hill, you just mentioned a while ago. Well, some of his wording can be a little contorted a little bit, but definitely Henry Ford. He's got some amazing quotes that are just a few words long. So his quote is, "My best friend is the one who brings out the best in me."
Yeah.
And so if you're looking to size up whether you've got a best friend, or who should be your best friend, or maybe you can make a relationship you've got into a best friend, that's it.
Yeah. 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 You got to look for people that really want the best for you. They're not jealous of you. They're not
Right.
trying to one up you. Whenever something happens good to you, they're not trying to say, "Well, I did this." They're not doing that. That's a sign of a good friend. They always want what's best for you. And I've got a good friend. We have breakfast about every week, and we get together, and he's got him a new 2021 Corvette, and it is beautiful. It's red, and I've done a couple TikToks videos on it. It's great. You got to check them out on TikTok. It's Answer Man Attitude, and then underscore Answer Man, and that's my handle on TikTok. Attitude Answer Man. And I have these 1 minute videos. They're inspirational every day, and I have a couple of them where I'm talking about my buddy Carl and his brand new Corvette, and I'm talking about racing them, racing his Corvette and my big dually pickup truck. And I've got a really nice 4-door crew cab monster truck. I mean,
Yeah.
it's decked out. It's really a nice truck. But we come out of the restaurant here a couple of weeks ago, and he was parked beside me. I'd gotten there first, and I went in, and he was parked beside me, and I'm like, "Oh, we're looking like we're going to race here." So I did a little video there where we're talking about running, against each other, doing a drag race. And I talked about how Carl was afraid of me. He's afraid I'd embarrass him with my big dually truck. So, but I talked about, being envious. I said, I'm not jealous of very many people at all. I'm usually, I'm fine. I'm happy for people, and he's my friend, and I'm excited for him to be able to, write a check and buy a Corvette, a brand new one. That's exciting. But then yesterday we went out again, and he had his Corvette, and I had my truck, my dually, and then I had my trailer with my big Caterpillar track loader on it, big machine. And then he was parked behind my trailer there. And so I'm like, I'm going to do another video. And so I did another one of his Corvette. Actually, I had him take a picture of me sitting in his Corvette. And then I took a picture. I did this video, and I said, okay, this is the Green with Envy, part 2. And I did a video where I said, I decided that since Carl was afraid to run me the last time and race me against my dually and his Corvette, that I'd kind of sweeten the deal. And so I showed him a picture of his Corvette, and then showed a picture of my dually, my big blue truck. And then I said, well, I put on a trailer. I just tagged on a little extra weight here. So I showed my trailer and my big cat machine. I said, now we can run them, and we'll see who's really, faster, it was funny. But that's one thing. that, as friends, my gosh, I am so happy for Carl and all his success. He just, he bought a house here, in Newburgh, and redid it, and flipped it, went ahead and turned it, but he had to gut the thing and change a whole lot of things. And he put his neck out there, to do all this. And then he turned around and was able to sell it. And I'm happy for him. I am so happy for him, because I want him to be successful, and I want the best for him and his wife and his little boy Dalton and everything. So that's what friends are about, people that want the best for you. So
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. I love that. I've seen those 2 TikToks. That's a beautiful car. You have an awesome truck too.
You're not a little jealous of my truck, are you?
Like me and my wife both.
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, I tell you, the one I got, it is like premium. I didn't want I didn't need all those options, but when I was shopping a few years ago, that's one that they had available and the color I wanted and stuff. And it was pretty fancy. I mean, it does everything but pick your nose, and I suppose there's nothing for that on there, but it's really a sweet ride. But but for as far as machines go, it's pretty nice. So
it is.
I need to be grateful for that.
All right. So tell us your quote. You've got that one here teed up.
Yeah. I've got a quote here. And this comes out of my book, actually, Finishing on Fire. And I talk about life is not about waiting for the storms to pass. It's about learning to find joy in the rain. And, so many people, they're worried about the storms, and all this stuff in life. But friends, true friends, will really help you find the joy in the rain. They'll see things from a different perspective, and they'll remind you, you know what? Yeah, you're going through a rough patch. It's a storm in your life, but I'm here with you. Your spouse is here with you. We want the best for you. And I remember Carl, when I was going through some rough times years ago, he kept saying, and I talk about this in my book. He says, I promise you. And he had these animated hand signals, these hands out. He says, you'll be okay. I promise you, and he just, and that's what friends are for. So in the midst of storms, you got friends there that encourage you and let you know that, hey, you know what? It's going to be okay. And here I am. I'm still alive and still kicking and putting out these TikTok videos and encouraging people. And that's fun. To know that thousands and thousands of people are being encouraged, by my TikTok videos and by this podcast, by hearing about us talking about relationships, our friends, our family, and what we can do to make every day count, make it our best day, and really, finish life on fire. So yeah, it's always good to talk about this stuff. So
absolutely. I'm excited for you for your TikTok channel. You've done a really good job of really sharing some really good content and getting connected up with a lot of people pretty quick. So keep up the good work.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's fun. It's short and simple, and that's kind of the way I am. I'm kind of short and simple. But I actually, it's 1 minute. They just give you 1 minute. You got 60 seconds to tell your story. I've got a buddy. He's a farmer. I grew up with him, first grade through high school. Good guy. He's a farmer. He's just recently retired, actually. And he said, Dave, you need to be on TikTok. You need to be on TikTok. You'd be great. I'm like, I don't know. And Ray Edwards, he had told me that. Yeah, Dave, you need to be on TikTok. You're so encouraging. You're positive. You got a good message. Do this and stuff. And then my nephew out in San Diego, my nephew says, hey, Uncle Dave, you need to be on TikTok. You need to be, you need to be telling people, we talked about these yellow sticky notes. I get these yellow sticky notes. I put people's names on them, like, my nephew, and I say, happy birthday, Georgie, and I love you and stuff. And then I'll do a little video and text it to him. And he says, Uncle Dave, you just got to be on TikTok. You got to be on TikTok. So finally I talked to my buddy, Mike, and I was over at his house one Sunday afternoon, and we were talking. He says, "All right, Dave, here we go." So he starts recording and he introduces me, and he's got, at the time, he's over 40,000 followers.
Wow.
Wow. And it's 40,000. You are not, and I didn't mean it in a bad way, but I'm like, dude, if you can get 40,000, I can surely get, 50, 60, 70, or 80. So, and he still keeps growing. So I'm working on it, but he started recording and he says, "Hey, I want to introduce you to my friend. It's Dave Wadsworth. He is what?" And I said, "I'm the Attitude Answer Man, just trying to help you out every day and stuff." And so he did that recording. He stuck it on TikTok, and he says, "All right, Wads," because he encouraged. He says, "Now there's 40,000 of you out there. You need to start following, Dave Wadsworth, and stuff." And a lot of people did. They started following me, and then it's like, "Oh, I better start doing some videos since people are following me, and there's nothing there to see." So anyway, so I'm working on it, and I'm just thrilled that thousands of people find encouragement and a little bit of enjoyment from my 1 minute a day, every day, 1 minute a day of just a shot in the arm, a booster shot of encouragement and positivity and having a good attitude and living life a little bit better. So
yeah, super,
pretty cool.
All right, so let's take us out with the 2-minute warning today, and this relates back to our really well with our mastermind, I think.
And now it's time for the 2-minute warning.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We're very fortunate to have these 3 friends, to be a part of this mastermind, working together. But here's what I want you to do. This is our 2-minute warning. This is the thing you need to do right now. Okay, as soon as this show's over, this is something you need to do, and you won't be sorry unless you don't do it. Okay, but here's what you do. You need to pick 3 friends, and hopefully you've been a good enough friend that you got at least 3. Okay, but pick 3 of your best friends, and I want you to send them a text, and I want you to send them a text of encouragement and kindness, and just a note about something that they've done to help you out. But just if nothing else, just say, "Hey, I'm glad you're my friend. I appreciate your kindness," and just encourage them and that you're thankful that they're your friend. But I want you to do that right now. It's not going to take you 2 minutes. Okay.
Exactly.
Take out your phone, text 3 of them and do that. I promise you it will do you a lot of good and it will do them a lot of good. So very simple call to action right there. Just do it.
Yeah, do it. Lift them up, encourage them.
Thank you for listening to the Finishing on Fire radio show. Be sure to visit finishingonfire.com for more great content. Go light your world.